We need to talk about American Express. They're a credit card issuer who has scammed more than 250,000 Puerto Ricans over the course of 12 years. The CFPB found that between the years 2000 and 2012, three of American Express's divisions, along with their affiliates and telemarketers, misleadingly marketed some of their credit card supplemental products and unfairly billed them for services left unrendered. One of these deceitfully marketed products was the Account Protector Payment Protection System. It's a payment protection system that allowed enrolled customers to have up to 2.5% of their total outstanding debt forgiven in the event of one of 13 specific qualifying life events, including the sudden loss of a job and temporary disability. Another service was a lost wallet program. This was to help Puerto Ricans cancel and replace lost credit cards, including those not from American Express. And there's also one called the Identity Protection Service, which is meant to monitor the customers' credit card information. Those three products all sound good in theory, but American Express had a pretty misleading way of marketing those services. Many people enrolled in the Account Protector service were told that their minimum monthly payment would be wiped if they fell victim to one of 13 extenuating circumstances. But unbeknownst to the Puerto Ricans, the debt forgiveness was 2.5% of the customer's unpaid balance up to a cap of $500. In many cases, that amount was less than the minimum monthly payment, so no actual benefit was to be had. Customers were also lied to about the duration of those payment waivers. They were told that all 13 of the qualifying life events earned them 24 months of waivers, when in actuality, only 2 of them qualified for the full 24 months. The other 11 only had either 1, 2, or 3 months of payment forgiveness. There's also the issue of the fee itself. AMEX customers are told that they wouldn't have to pay any additional fees if their balances were paid in full. But they didn't mention that this would only qualify if the account was paid off before the end of the billing cycle, which was often before their statement due date, meaning customers mistakenly believed that they had more time to pay off their credit than they actually did. And you might be wondering how all of this was possible. It's because American Express decided to have the vast majority of their sales and onboarding calls in English. Every single written piece of document was also written in English, not Spanish, the dominant language in Puerto Rico. The Puerto Ricans were also all charged for the Identity Protection Service, but many of them were never actually able to finish enrolling in the program because the company had failed to request the necessary written approval needed for such a program. Since American Express decided to charge the Puerto Ricans when a product was sold and not when they received the necessary signatures, it meant that many Puerto Ricans were effectively paying for a service that legally couldn't be provided to them. Some of them were even charged interest on top of the base identity protection fees. And since the written documents were all in English as opposed to Spanish, it meant that those Puerto Ricans had no idea about the extra fees that they were subjugating themselves into, which meant many of them were also unknowingly shoved over their allocated credit limit, requiring them to pay even more fees to their banks. Because of all of this, the CFPB fined American Express $9.6 million at the end of 2013. And they had to pay $59.5 million in restitution to the more than 300,000 people who have been harmed in this giant shit show. Remember to like this video if you hate large corporations scamming the vulnerable, and subscribe to make a billionaire cry.